Hello, welcome to my channel, Perfect Pastimes. My name's Amanda, my friends call me Amo. I live in Dorset in the south of England with my husband and my 3 dogs, and they're all popping in and out behind me, so you may see them. And on cue, there's Remy. Today is Tuesday, the 4th of February. I've no idea where January went. It was a nice month for me. I just potted on through. I'm always happy to have January. I like the turning of the page, as it were. I was a little busy at the end of last month, sorry. But since then, I have just been in the garden an awful lot. So it's taken me a little while to gather my thoughts on what I've come to see you about and talk to you. I think I should start with the most obvious thing. And if you've been on my Instagram, you will know that I finished my Advent sweater. As you can see, it turned out fabulously. I think I can get my chair back in. There we go. If I go this side, you can see how long it is. Hello. Yes. Now, this is a pattern called Calliope. I will put a link to it down below. I did explain to you how I came about making it in a little short video I did specifically on my Advent calendar on my previous video. So the Calliope is made in my one is made in the Apothecary Advent by Blue Fan Yarns. There were 24 20-gram minis, which came to 480 grams, and 100-gram skein. So that equals 580 grams. That's 2,040 meters. And I held it all double, so this is made as a DK weight. Do excuse Gwynny and Remy having a little play fight in the hallway. So there's about 1,200 meters DK, and I carefully did the body as long as I wanted to, as I said in my last video, and I've already got a snag on it from Winnie there. And then I joined in to do the sleeves to see how far I could match the sleeves. The Calliope has very, very long ribbing on the sleeves, but I went down as far as I could. I have been wearing this, so it's already got a bit of dog fluff on it. I knew I was going to run out of the minis, the colours that came in the Advent, but I still had the 100-gram skein, which is made up of all the other colours all in one. So I used that. Sorry about the shadow. The sun's actually come out. It's blowing a gale out there at the moment, but the sun's come out. You can see all the colours there. The cuff and the hem are both done in the 100-gram skein. Hello. Good girl. And I will show you now. That is all I have left of the 100-gram skein. And this is all I have left of the minis. Ooh. And those few bits there, talk about economy of use, comes to 36 grams. So of the 580 grams, there's 36 grams left over, and the rest of it is in this sweater. And Blue Fan Yarns merino is a very soft merino. I know merino is soft anyway, but sock yarn does vary. And it is a sock yarn because it's got nylon in it, but I'm pretty hard on my clothes with the dogs. I live my life in jeans and dog hair, so they've got to be pretty tough clothes. So I have been wearing it a lot. I blocked it. It came out, it's finished at a 44 inch. So I've got about 4 inches of positive ease there. I'm a 41, so three and a bit. It fits nicely. It doesn't cling. I was over the moon with it. I used a 4mm needle on the yoke, and I went to a 4.5 for the rest of it because I was feeling it was a little bit of a firmer fabric, but I thought round the yoke was probably not a bad idea, to be honest. But I did my 8-row fading, so I do explain this in the other video if you want to go back and watch that. But every 4 rows I changed one of the 2 colours that I was holding together to make the DK, and I think the fading has come out wonderfully. Mind you, a lot of it's to do with Shannon's dyeing abilities, but to say I'm over the moon would be an understatement. The fact that I actually used the Advent fully in a garment is very pleasing. I've got several Advents upstairs that I've hardly touched really, or I've just dragged a ball out or a skein out just to make toes and heels and things, which is a little bit disappointing when I think how much money an Advent is. I'd rather wear it as a sweater. So this is the Calliope using Blue Fern Yarns Advent Apothecary. I will link the Calliope down below. The other knitting thing I was talking about last time was one of my socks, which was beginning to pool. This is my Christmas Eve cast on in a Christmas Eve box from Rosie's Moments. So what I have done, it sat there for a few days and I was, shall I, shan't I? But I shall, I did. I took it back to the heel part, and I decreased 4 stitches, 2 each side, on about 4 or 5 rounds. And so far I haven't done much, but the pooling, sorry about that shadow, the pooling seems to be not happening, but I've only just started up the leg at the moment, so that's given me a little bit of a boost to carry on. These are a toe up and I want them slightly longer than my normal socks because these are going to be in my boots, and my boots have a 9-inch leg. So hopefully I have solved that pooling. I must have just hit the sweet spot on the number of stitches going in the round to create that pooling. I think there was 64 in this pattern anyway, but the back is stocking stitch. So long as I keep the pattern, I think there's 32 for the pattern on the front the same, I can decrease or increase what I like on the back. So I reduced 4, so that's down to 60, which is my normal sock size anyway, on 2.5s, and I hope I have solved that. Time will tell if I get on with the other sock. That's another nitty thing done. I do apologise if you can hear the wind in the trees. Outside my studio here I've got a massive old gentleman of an ash tree, and he does make whooshy noises in the wind. I said a few podcasts ago, I can't remember, 2 or 3 podcasts ago, I had taken up, I used to have my socks upstairs, and in the mornings I try and knit on a sock. Well, first thing in the morning my brain isn't always functional that much, so I took up my domino blanket. It was the last podcast I must have spoken to you about it in. Domino blanket is by Knit One Knits. It's made with a colour changing yarn. I have Nordic Noir in jewel spun, Sirdar jewel spun, and it's your regular cast on so many, knit a row, come back to the centre and slip one, knit two together, pass slip stitch over, knit to the end, knit row. It's quite a standard diamond knit pattern. I took this upstairs to do as my morning knit, hoping to do a square in the morning. Well, some mornings I do a square, some mornings I don't, some mornings I do 3 squares. It depends what we have on for the day, I think. And this is knit diagonally. Excuse me, that's my glasses. Yeah, this is knit diagonally. And last time I showed you, I was on this square here. So I've done all of that row to there. I have done all of this darker row up to there, and I have started finally coming, I've turned the corner and I'm now coming up that road. So this blanket, because I explained in the other video, I've got an extra ball of yarn to make it slightly bigger. So now it is that wide. I think I would have been I would have probably turned the corner on this one had I done it to the pattern. But the jewel spun does all the work, which is great fun. And I'm over the moon that my little bit of time in the morning, once Wordle is done and once we've had a chat about what we're doing with our cup of tea, I can sit and do my square or two. And I've already got plans about what blanket I might take up once this one is done. It could well be the Soulful Sierra, because that's quite easy to remember. Just got to, oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. Just have to remember to change colour. That's moved on beautifully. And speaking of blanket, do please remember that blankets don't count as whips. It's a golden rule. I am using my stash to join in on the Canal Boat blanket by Attic 24, Lucy of Attic 24. So I am no way following her lead on colour choices, but I am doing her pattern, and this is where I am up to so far. That yellow seems very, very in your face. It's a lovely golden yellow, to be honest. But once the other, I thought the same of this red actually, that's a very tomato red, but once the other colours are there, it sort of blends in nicely. And last time I showed you this, I was there. Can you see the little owl there? So I'm working on a few rows here and there. Another project that's using up what I have. It's a very 4-row repeat, very easy 4-row repeat. You just have to remember that one of the rows you do on the wrong side and the other 3 rows you do on the right side. Once it's in your head, you're fine. And it's a very simple pick up, get on. The only trouble is with these scrappy projects is, of course, you've got a great big basket or bag or container full of lots and lots of balls of yarn, so it's hardly very portable, but I don't mind that. Some days, you know, you just want to sit down and do something with your hands and not think about it. And had a very exciting couple of games of golf on the television the other night, so that's exactly what I did. I've been enjoying my golf lately because every ladies' day's on Thursdays and we've had some fabulous weather for it. It's getting rather misty out there at the moment. But that's weather for you. Keep having this strange weather anyway. Quite Quite a few years ago, I was gifted some Cotton Glacé by Rowan. It's in a pale shell pink. There we go. If you've been here a while, you know my thoughts on making anything with cotton. It's like using garden string. I'm not a fan, but I was gifted this 7 balls.
You filming?
Just ignore him. I was gifted this 7 balls of yarn. I was gifted these 7 balls of yarn, and pale baby pink is very much not my colour at all. But my daughter loved it. She is a blonde. So we looked through one of the patterns books that I have from Rowan with using Cotton Glacé, and I found this picture here. It's called, I've forgotten what it's called now. I'll put the name underneath. It's from the book Drift anyway. And I made quite a way into it and totally, absolutely did not like what was being made. It was coming out like an old string vest. It was so loose and gappy, and it was right. Tension was right, the picture was right, you know, it was okay, but the actual stitch was horrible and I could not see her wearing it. And it's been stuck under my granddaughter's bed for several years. I dug it out the other day and I searched the internet what other patterns I could do with Cotton Glacé and find a pattern that would suit my daughter. So after an awful long hard search, I found a pattern called Madeline, which was in a Rowan book called Honey, and it's a fitted t-shirt, buttons down the front, little cap sleeves, which I'll probably lengthen slightly. I think my daughter would prefer just slightly longer. She thinks she's quite hippie, and she prefers to balance that with a little bit more of a sleeve. If she goes to a sleeveless, she feels bottom heavy. She's quite fit. She's running the marathon, London Marathon this year, so you know it's in her mind. But that's how she feels. As we all know, we know how we feel good, how we want to look, how we want to wear clothes. And that's it for her. So I unravelled the string vest version of Cotton Glacé that I had made, and I washed it, skeined it, washed it, hung it with a weight, reballed it, and I have been knitting on this. It's basically stocking stitch, but it's got a pretty hem, and it is. Can you see the shaping? It does have shaping. This is the back. It still feels like a garden string to me. I'm so not a fan of cotton yarns, but if she wears it, I'll be happy. If she doesn't wear it, I won't mind. I have been told that Cotton Glacé will soften once it's been washed, but that is another little thing I've been working on. In the evenings I tend to do a couple of rows of something, a couple of rows of stitch, a couple of rows of knitting, a couple of rows of crochet, and then settle down one particular thing. This is in the couple row thing. It's called Madeline, cap sleeve, top with eyelet hem, by Rowan in the book Honey, which was 2014, and it is very difficult to get hold of. But it took the 7 balls I have, will take 7 balls I have in Cotton Glacé. So I'm glad that's another thing out of my stash that is being used. I'm doing really well on using stuff out. I haven't actually bought things to go into my stash. However, I am going to unravel this month. We'll see. The last thing knitty, crochet-y, no, two crochet things. One was something you all commented on for me last time, and that's what Angelica could hold. And she has some snowdrops. Thank you for all your lovely suggestions. I do have a heart. Quite a few of you mentioned heart because of February. We do already have a heart that came with the actual pattern. So now I've managed to show you the snowdrops. I will give her heart to hold. And I have the spring apron to be getting on with, which of course will be worn from March. And I'll think of something for her to hold for the springtime. But now you have seen the little daffodils. It was a pattern I found on YouTube somewhere. They are wired, so I can position them. They've got the little insides and they're very dainty. And she's been sitting up behind me watching, holding her little snowdrops. Pretty little winter flower. I class it as a winter flower. We don't get rid of winter because we've gone through the new year, do we? We're in winter. And my last yarniness, you may have spotted him behind me, my froggo. The pigeon's nest has come up with froggo. He is such fun, very easy knit. I bought the kit from the pigeon's nest directly, so I got the right yarn and the eyes and the proper eyes for it. Every month this year she is going to be putting out a little pattern to dress froggo in something. January this past month was a pair of shorts and a yoga mat. I'm not sure what February's is yet. I'm not sure if it's been released. She's in New York at the moment, or was in New York. But I'm not averse to try and making up my own clothing for him. We'll see what he comes up with. Perhaps he needs a yoga mat. He hasn't told me. But there are a few people on the internet making a froggo. So I've joined in there. He's joined the team. Bless him. Let's see what little adventures he can get up to. Maybe he can come around the garden with me and keep an eye on the wildlife. Other things I've been getting on with the past few weeks is now into the stitchy bit. So if you don't want to do the stitchy things, I'll say goodbye and catch up with you again soon, I hope. And if you're interested in the stitchy, thank you for staying on. I said last time I didn't have any stitching for Valentine's, but I did find this little piece that I must have done some time ago. So this needs making into a small, and I am doing I have the, I'll just find the pattern, sorry. I'm doing the Love Notes by Brenda Gervais, and I chose to do this one just here. Sorry about the glare on the wrapper. So I've printed that out, and I've managed to do the red. I'm doing the white border now. I will hopefully, I'm going to plan on doing a bit more to this afternoon. Obviously, clock's ticking for this one, so I want to get this one finished, and both of them are smalled up so they can go on my little stand in the living room. I didn't use call for this. I'm using Stash. It was a random bit 32 count even weave. I think it was 32 count, and Lancaster red equivalent in DMC, and I am very pleased with it so far. So there's not too much left to do, just the last bit of border, that bit there, virtually a side's worth, her face, her bow and arrow, and some hearts. Then I can iron that, back that, and make them both into pillows to add to my little smalls collection. Hopefully I'll have those done before I see you next, but it will probably be past Valentine's by then. And finally, what am I doing for time? 27 minutes, God. Finally, I was watching Ellie of Craft House Magic, and she is making the Daisy and Grace Quilt As You Go star in a hexagon. And then I was watching her and I remembered I had bought these templates. And what I had planned to do, I've got a couple of Quilt As You Go quilts made, but they're just sort of lap size, and I wanted a blue and white, a white with blue, predominantly white with blue, single bed size quilt for a couple of the spare bedroom beds for some time. And I like a little bit of hand stitch. You can do this on the machine. There are videos, I believe Daisy and Grace did some YouTube videos on how to do this on the machine, but I quite like doing it as a hand stitch project. So I've got my little project case. Now, this is an old case I've had for quite some time. I used to keep some of my little mini books in it. Inside it's been papered with some old newspaper. It was already like that. It doesn't smell as yellow as what it looks. I'll just read a couple of these out to you. This is from the Daily Chronicle, July the 3rd, 1926, where you could go to Harrow in London and buy a 3-bedroom house freehold for £680. Rickmansworth, also in London, houses from £1,000 to £2,000 with deposits of £50. Dudding Hill, there's an estate there from £100 for 4-bedroom houses. Let me see, there's quite a few underneath my stitching here as well. Valentine Park Estate in Ilford, £795 freehold, cash payment of £100 deposit for a 5-bedroomed semi-detached. That's 100 years ago. I don't think even rental is in 3 figures anymore. Anyway, in here I have gathered my supplies. And I have the templates. In this star and a hexagon, you get the hexagon, inner and outer, the jewel, inner and outer, and the diamond, inner and outer. And what you do is you cut your background fabric with the larger outer, and then you cut some wadding and a piece of fabric from the inner, pin them together, and then you double fold the edges. You fold the outside to the edge of the wadding, and then you fold that over the outside, and you end up with pieces. So that is the actual size of the hexagon with the edges over folded over. You can sew these as you go, you can pin them, you can clip them with the clips, but I quite honestly like spending an hour or so hand basting. I find it very pleasing, and I'm using a very, very dated Coats thread, so that's being used in a colour I won't use as my basting. When I have a wodge of these, I will spend some time with some off-white, off-grey thread and stitch around the edge, just like putting a binding on a quilt. And then when I have a big pile of those, I can sit and decide how I'm going to put them together to make this diamond, jewel and hexagon pattern. I have gathered my blues. There's quite a few blues there. There's some grey blues and some bluey blues. I had a jelly roll. This was from when my daughter's first expecting in 2013. I bought 2 jelly rolls, a pink one and a blue one, and then we found out it was a girl, so the blue one has sat all the time in my fabric boxes, so I thought I'm going to use it. Also with that, I bought out the neutrals. There's whites, off-whites, grey whites, beige whites, whites on whites, which will be the backing. There's quite a difference between a white on white, the beigey white and the grey white, when you hold them like that. But when you make these up as a whole, you won't notice. All these backs together, if I pop them, when they're made up into stars, and there's lots of them, you won't notice. But I will get my cool white and blue simple quilt, I hope. So this is in a little travelly case. Everything is piled in there. I can grab it. I'm looking forward to having that for in the garden in the summer, spring, summer, when that arrives. I've already been having a little play, as you see, but it's something, again, that's come out of my stash, something I've had for a very long time. When I used to do a written blog, and I looked back in 2014, my word for the year was use, and it's been use ever since, more or less. So I'm really trying hard to de-stash, to use things up, and at the moment I feel as though I'm winning. Whether I end up winning, I don't know. As I say, this month is Unravel at Farnham. I'll just check the date, sorry. 14th, 15th and 16th, and we're going on the Saturday, I think, a little group of us. We can't do the Southern All show this year, I don't think, but Unravel is there. I'm intending on going, and I'm going to look through my Ravelry list first and work out some meterages, grams or yarn types that I'd like, maybe for a sweater or project. Or I intend to go and find a ready-made project on a stand. I am refusing to buy random skein here and there. I have got quite a few of those upstairs. I have a few plans for some of them, but I'm trying to go into the joy of a yarn show or a craft show with intention, not just eye blindness. When you walk in, you just see all this wonderfulness and just want everything. So I'm trying to bring in as minimum as possible, and I'm trying to make up as maximum as I can. We'll see how that goes through the next year, shall we? Other than that, I'm doing the usual around the house things. The dogs are good, John's quite well. My lovely Hannah's out in the garden sorting some of the lawn damage the dogs have done, bless her. I'm here talking to you, having a nice coffee, and I'm going to sort out those 2 Valentine's things and get them pillowed up for my smalls and see where the rest of the day takes me. If you're new here, I am more than happy that you've joined me. Thank you very much. Just underneath the screen there is a little like button. If any of you are watching, please just now hit the like button. I'll be very grateful. I haven't gone over the 1,000 yet. I'm nearly there. Now I'll think about the gifting. I'm so happy a lot of you have come back and you comment and we chat, and it's very nice to have you here. And I hope to see you maybe in a couple of weeks' time. So in the meantime, keep crafting, keep safe, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.